Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I ran out of storage on my phone, so I had to erase some old videos. Jeez, where even was I on that? I don't know. Like I was talking about the whole Innie outie thing. Because I was saying, well, the other guy does it because it helps him keep his mind off of his wife. But like, I don't see how that helps because his other consciousness is thinking about his wife all the time and doesn't get that break to go to work to stop thinking about it. So how does that really help him at all? All that's doing is shortening his life by 2/3 because he's like losing 8 hours instantaneously. Of course, we lose 8 hours instantaneously when we sleep too, though, don't we? Ugh. But yeah, yeah. But like the worst part about work, it's like I was saying earlier. Like if you could, you would just work all 40 hours straight and then be done with it. And then you have like 5 days off, and it'd be wonderful. But instead, it's like this interruption that keeps happening here and here and here and here, and it's all spread out throughout the week. And that's the thing that sucks about it. Setting it aside, sanctioning it off, or sectioning it off to another part of your consciousness, I can see the appeal of that. But the idea that that consciousness has to exist as a version of you that does nothing but work for their entire life, I don't see how that's fair to them at all. But I also wonder, like, how are you really two different people? Because yes, you are, but you're also not, because you're in the same body. So anything that the innie does, happens to the outie, and vice versa. Like if the outie goes out and drinks one night and comes into work the next day, they're hungover. They don't understand why they're hungover because they have no memory of it. They just finished yesterday's work and they're starting on the next day. And then there's like the issue of, well, wouldn't they get tired? But it's like, no, they wouldn't because their outie is refreshing their body by going to sleep. So when they get in the elevator at 5 p.m., they might be tired, but when the elevator opens a second later, they feel totally fine. So how's that any different than like the real world where it's like, yeah, you're just gonna have to go back. You're just gonna have to sit there and dread it the whole time. And it's like I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit here, but it's like you never hear people make songs about Sunday. No, they always make songs about Friday. But why is that? Friday's a work day. Sunday's not. Sunday should be the better day. But no, they make songs about Friday. They do that because they don't care about the present. It's all about the future. It's all about what you have to look forward to. And so what does that mean? I don't know. I don't know what it means. It just means that like, ugh. Well, it's just further proof, that work sucks, or that the way it is now sucks because it's an interruption that keeps happening, over and over again. You're never just done with it. It's just like a bottomless pit. I don't know. Still, though, no matter what I say about any of that, though, it doesn't change the fact that you're basically committing a person, a version of yourself, to do this for the rest of their life against their will, more or less, because you're the one that made the decision. The outie is the one that decides when to start and when to quit. So and you can try to convince the outie to quit, but they have no means of communicating to the outie other than like the girl does this one thing where she threatens to chop off her fingers, and that's how she convinces them to let her make a video for her outie. But then her outie says, well, no, you stay there and do it because you're not a person, I am. It makes me think that the outie version of Helly is like a really bad person, and I almost don't want to know what she's like. But is there a way for the innies to get out, like physically? And what would happen if they did? How does that even work? Because, oh, there's just so much to think about, because you have memories, right? They wouldn't even know what to do because they have no memories of who they are. They'd be stuck in a world like a newborn baby or something. And that would still be better than working for the rest of their life. I definitely agree there. But, like, what would happen to their outies? Then the outie would be the one who dies, I guess? Because there would be no way to switch them back to the other consciousness. I think that Innie is like the one that's in the chip that they put in their head. Which one is in the chip? Because I saw the part where she took the chip out of the dead guy and she handed it back to the company and said, here's Teddy, or whatever his name was. Or shoot, it wasn't Teddy. It was like a night. Oh, it's Petey. Petey, that was his name. Here's Petey. Why am I all the way on the right side of the screen? This looks so stupid. It looks like that shot of Mike Barnes in season 5, episode 3 of the Cobra Kai. And my chin is just bulging as ever. Don't you love me? What, man? What am I doing? Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this show, but I'm really anxious to see where it goes. Because, don't even get me started on the memory stuff. Because, like, if you don't remember yourself experiencing life outside of work, then that sucks. If you're only memories, like, are you still building memories? I guess you are. But why would you do that to someone? Why would you do that to yourself? You would do it because it's not really you. It's like a different you. It's like you're melding or just like Cthulhuing out into like a separate body. I don't even know if Cthulhu does that. You're just like tentacling out, oozing out this other self, and then saying, "You do my work for me." It's like, it's pretty much slavery, is what it is. But it's slavery of self. So I can see where there's like a dichotomy between that and the real world. It's like we're all slaves to work, but it's like you have to do it. You know, you have to earn your keep in the world. But, oh man, I don't know. But it's like, because there's this part of me, and I know it's wrong, but there's a part of me that's like, well, what is the difference between making yourself, making a separate self and turning that person into a slave, and just being a slave yourself? Except instead of constant work, it's like this interruption that happens over and over again. They keep stopping you from what you're doing. Like I said earlier, it's not just the 8 hours that you're there; it's all the time you got to spend driving there, getting ready, getting dressed, and all that crap. It ends up being a lot more than 8 hours. When I used to work at Pick and Save, like they cut me down to 24, 25 hours a week, but they would spread it across 6 days. So I still had to get up and get dressed and do all that crap for an hour, 6 days out of the week, while only getting paid for 24 hours. And that drove me crazy. So I can see why it drives people crazy, even at 5 hours, 8 hours a day. Like, that's crazy. And that's still, like, it's not, I mean, the thing is, you're getting paid for it. So it's not really, you can't call that being a slave if you're getting paid for it. But you can call it being a slave if the other person, the other consciousness, is only doing work and nothing else. Then that is a problem. So, like, that's why I say I can't really say that. I can't say what's the difference between this and what we already do now, even though technically it's kind of worse because it's spread out. I keep bringing that up. I don't mean to keep bringing that up. So, and I'm not saying that it's any better for the innies doing it all the time. No, it isn't. But it goes back to that thing of like people saying they'd rather work 10 hours for 4 days and then have a 3-day weekend, or work 16 hours for 3 days, and then have a 4-day weekend. And that'd be awesome, because it's not the work that sucks; it's the interruption. And and that's the appeal of the whole severance thing, is you don't have that fucking interruption anymore. It's like, I'm done. I'm not saying that makes it okay. 'Cause hell no. But like, I get the appeal, and that's why I'm making a severance vlog.
Oh, cool.
It's okay. I think that's pretty much all I want to say about it for now, because if I go on for too long here, I'm just going to end up saying the same things over and over again. I think I've already kind of done that. So I will catch you. God, look at this beautiful cloudy weather, man. Look at this. This is so beautiful. This is like heaven, I'm telling you. This is like the severance here, the severance between me and the sky. I love it. Okay, bye. Seriously.